let you know we are going on to internet, on to YouTube. This is Scott Stimson with International Computer Solutions, and this is the San Carlos Computer Club. We meet every Tuesday at 10 Arizona Sonoran time. Just the tech topics of the day. Checking in with each other at a thing that we have been doing. We've done the computer club meetings since almost 2001, I think. And the virtual meeting is something we started during COVID. And now, even if we have an in person meeting, we always try and have streaming virtual meeting. I am in Alaska doing my summer thing. So it's just a virtual meeting. There's no one in San Carlos that is on the screen right now. So take it for what it's worth. We're able to do San Carlos Computer Club meetings in all corners of the globe. Welcome, people. As is typical, I had sent out a document to kind of guide us through today's meeting, which will either be used or completely pushed off to the waste side, but I will drop this link in our chat. So if anybody hasn't got that up in front of them, they can do that. If you are on an iPad or a phone, that may not be an easy to do. Depends on how well you are multitasking on your mobile device. This document, you've probably become very familiar with the top of it because we've got a bunch of things here that we're continually reiterating. The Bill of Digital Rights, which I try and drop a link to in just about any political comment I come across these days. Which I would encourage you to do if you were able to, if you felt comfortable doing that. If you stumble across anybody that's talking about policy, please shoot them a link to this document. Also about the bed and breakfast, well, I should, in fact, as we're talking, I'm going to 26 because 25 is almost over. And we will start taking bookings in October, starting for the 26th season. Starting in October. And this is the same deal for anybody in San Carlos. We like to give a 10% discount. So if you mention you want to come stay with us in 2026, we'll give from San Carlos. I'm still working on a smartphones for dummies seminar. I think it's a good idea, and so the contents of such ideas are left at the bottom of this document. Talk about any smartphone topics that I think relevant to such a thing. I will be adding it topics at the bottom of this document, and it'll be copied forward with each. Also, we talk about VPNs a lot in this club, and so this is an explanation of why we can't recommend ExpressVPN, as well as a handful of others any longer. Explain to you why. And yeah, last week I dropped this and I've left it for this week because I thought people might want to review it. How to make Safari read a web page aloud to you if you have an iDevice or a Macintosh device. There is a way that you can screen reader to read web pages to you, and it's very well done. So this document. In club news this morning, I finally fixed the homepage of the website that we use for the San Carlos Computer Club. Any of you that had visited it might have discovered that it is displaying only links to meetings we've had since October 2024. Something that was driving me crazy, but I had not had the time to deal with. This morning, I finally had it sorted out. So if you go to or the sccclub.org link, you will see our meetings up to date.
I have a question. What were you saying about making Safari read the web page to you?
Well, yeah, last week we talked about it. This is a
I don't see a link,
yeah,
so
it's right here
maybe.
in the document. Here, I'll
But
bring it up.
what is it called?
How to make Safari read a web page aloud to you.
Okay, I am looking at the document for the meeting,
Yep.
and
This is the title you're looking for if you see me in your chat.
I can't read yours, so you need to read it to me.
How to make Safari read a web page aloud to you.
Okay, I just got it.
Yeah.
Get Peach, whatever that might be. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I found it very helpful, and one of the reasons was that I wanted to run around my house listening to a web page instead of having to read it, sit and read it, and I finally sorted it out. So this has instructions on how to sort it out on any Mac device. And what else we got here? Oh, and the website being fixed. So now it is displaying the most recent, well, actually, right now it's displaying a link to today's meeting. No, it's not. Right? It's displaying a link to last week's. 3 weeks. Now, obviously, there's another fix I have to do. So, finding that out in real life, didn't realize that wasn't working correctly. May have something to do with my playlist. So, note to self, fix that. Let's see. That page that we were just looking at is supposed to pop up during our meet time, so that if you go to our website, you will see a YouTube of the meeting in progress. And for some reason, it is displaying only the July 22nd. Just discovered. Okay, one more under this topics, troubleshooting, and advice section that I always leave at the beginning of this is, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at the Google Pixel event. It's all right. They had Jimmy Fallon host it, very similar to his kind of TV show, The Late Show. This is an 11-minute synopsis of that event done by the
Imagine being able to build an app.
I don't know if you want to listen, but so
we're going to talk about
it.
IP numbers, and we're going to party as hard as we possibly can on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. Let's do it. Rick Osterloh!
But they go into the new Google Pixels, and mostly in photos and AI stuff. And there's some interesting things here, things
automatically
like
check out this photo. We can
taking
turn it into a
picture of
video
your dog
with VO.
Now that I can talk, my platform is simple.
I don't even think
more
that's
treats.
the same dog.
And now if you
so
buy
I
a
don't know why
Pixel
they
10
would
Pro,
display this. There's another one in here where they're really proud of putting a hat on. Now this is actually interesting.
We've got something called ProRes Zoom. And bottom line, this is the highest quality zoom on any smartphone, and it lets you zoom up to 100x.
They show us
this picture looks incredible, right?
Oh my God, yeah, that's me driving into work this morning.
It looks just like New York City. You'll see that it might not if you take it from where we actually took this shot from, way back there.
Whoa. That is impressive.
Now that's credit to our Google Tensor G5 chip.
But the thing that I found impressive in this was their demonstration of real-time audio translation, which is towards the end here. And what's I found impressive, you heard my comment about the photo of the dog. I don't think that was the real dog. There's another photo that I don't think's impressive where they put a hat on a dog, and it looks like they put a hat on a dog. It doesn't look like a dog is wearing a hat. It looks like somebody superimposed a hat on top of the dog. I'm like, I don't think I would use this for my presentation reel, but they did.
Is anybody there?
Where?
I have no volume.
Can't hear us? Anybody else having problems hearing?
I'm not have problems.
Okay. Yeah, look, Judy just left the meeting. Maybe she's having some technical. Well,
own voice,
so
inflections,
what's
and everything.
impressive
Okay?
about the translation?
And now you can have a conversation in Spanish,
is
Japanese, Hindi, and more. And the thing is, Pixel handles the translation entirely on device. So your phone conversations, they're going to stay private.
I'm going to turn this up first. Hopefully you can.
Hola, Sofía. Hola, Jimmy.
Hola, Karen. All right, so we'll turn on the translation feature. I head to Call Assist, Voice Translate, choose the language, and...
Call is translated by Google AI. In each speaker's voice, audio is not saved.
Hi, Karen. Can you hear me? Does this work?
Hola Karen, ¿puedes oírme? ¿Funciona esto?
I don't know. Did you guys hear that okay?
Hello. Yon. And the crazy
I
person
don't hear
listens to you in
anything.
Spanish.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, this
I'm
is
sorry.
really cool.
Yeah, I
can't
don't
believe
have
how
a
fast
setup
this
that would
works.
allow me to broadcast
No
it.
puedo creer
But
lo rápido que
what's
está funcionando.
impressive about it is that was Jimmy Fallon's voice in Spanish with the same tonal inflections that you would give for questions or surprise in the standard speech pattern, the same spacing and silences and cues. The woman talking back in Spanish was translated in English, and it did the same thing. It was her voice, it was her tonal inflections, either indicating that there's questions or surprise or grief. Just very impressive. And so I would recommend taking a look at that video when you get a chance, because that is an amazing game changer. You know, when we went through Europe, we were able to get through most of France and Italy using our Google Translate app, but this is like a whole different deal. You could call and talk directly to people with this and use your voice. It is of course this is the Pixel event. They're showing off a bunch of things about their new phone that's supposed to be competing against the iPhone or the Samsung S series. It's Google Pixel. Since Google is the steward of the Android operating system, many of these features will end up in the Android operating system available to Samsung and other manufacturers to integrate into their products. But we see them be born and released in the Pixels. They also are releasing their own MagSafe puck, high-speed Qi 2 charger. Apple's got the same thing. They're actually compatible with each other, or should be. And now that I say that, actually the Apple one probably isn't. The Apple one's probably got a chip in it. Identifies whether you have an Apple device. Anyway, I encourage you to take a look at that video if you're looking for information on the latest developments, things, phones, and right now in AI. The Google Pixel event with Jimmy Fallon. This just happened a few days ago. I've got news articles with me that I thought we would find interesting. But as usual, I'm more interested in what you guys find interesting. And so if anybody has any topics they would like to discuss, please bring them up to us now. I see Chester's got his hand up immediately. What's up, Chester?
Yes, I had a program I found on my computer that I was wondering if you're familiar with it, and it's called Surfshark. It's an antivirus program, and I think it wound up on my computer, and then they're going to be billing me for it. One of those kind of deals. Are you familiar with it? It's called Surfshark.
I'm looking at it right now. This is a VPN. So I wonder, it seems like Jim was recommending one of these. I think Surfshark, is it also Nord? Fred's raising his hand. Go ahead, Fred. It's owned by Nord Security. So I think Surfshark is one of the VPNs that in the club here we've been recommending. Like I can't personally vouch for it, but I think folks like Jim have vouched for it as being a economically reasonable VPN if you were looking for something that's stable and use it for. So I wonder if you installed it just out of curiosity from one of our meetings.
I did install it, and but I think it's going to they're going to send me a bill for $3 or $4 a month.
Well, if you gave them a credit card, then yeah, I bet they will.
I didn't. But,
okay. So it'll probably just stop working for you if you don't pay for it.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if I should pay for it.
Well, do you feel like you have a need for a VPN?
No.
Well, then no, there's no reason for it. In Mexico, we have a need for a VPN because mostly for entertainment, mostly for being able to watch TV.
I'm in the Phoenix, Arizona area.
Yeah.
And I don't have a need for a VPN.
The other reason that you would need a VPN would be access to services that you can't get to where you're located. Which, again, you're in the United States, and most of the services you need are U.S. Services, so you don't need a VPN for that. Another reason you might need a VPN is because you're frequenting public Wi-Fi areas, and you're concerned about threats in that local area. The best example I can think of is the classic, you're in a coffee shop and there's a malicious actor sitting in the corner scanning the traffic on that free Wi-Fi.
That doesn't apply either.
Yeah, and that doesn't apply either. So, I mean, I think we might be able to come up with some more cases, but I'm thinking in the end you probably don't need a VPN, Jeff.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Fred, you've got your hand up. What do you got going on?
Didn't I read someplace that Amazon Fire is going over to regular Android?
Well, you did read. They are. I don't know if you would call it regular Android because they're going to a proprietary operating system.
I thought I read that they were going off the proprietary system and onto something where you could go into Google Play to get stuff.
I'm looking for what exactly they're talking about, but essentially we've been warned that the new OS for the Fire platform not going to be able to support the app suite. More similar of a situation that you find in Roku, we'll start seeing in the Amazon Fire ecosystem. New Fire Sticks may block side loading. This is the news. Amazon's new operating system may prevent side loading on future Fire Sticks. So they're not talking about the current platform. The current platform is Android. It will continue to support side loading, but they're talking about the next generation of Fire Sticks are going to use a proprietary operating system that doesn't support side loading. I'm looking right now for we've actually talked about it a little bit, but I'm not sure technically what it would be for right now. Search. So the streamers are recommending we get into a different style streaming box, and they're recommending using Google TV boxes. So instead of some vanilla Android or some or like this Fire Stick, the Fire OS, they're recommending using devices that are Google TV compatible for the apps that we've become accustomed to side loading. I don't think this is applicable to any of us at the moment that are using Fire Sticks. The equipment we have at the moment is sufficient for everything on. What this really means, though, is at some point Amazon's going to stop supporting these older devices, as well as partners with Amazon could stop supporting them. We've actually seen some of that already. Netflix has announced that the first generation Fire Sticks will no longer be compatible with their Netflix client. They won't make a version that will run or be compatible with those. So that is actually Netflix doing that before Amazon's.
Say that again. Now, this is only applying to Fire Sticks. They aren't changing their Roku access.
Well,
not Roku
actually,
TV.
yeah, actually, in terms of the Netflix app, there is a list of devices that is no longer being supported. I think it includes some old TV sets as well.
Huh.
Netflix.
They're also raising my Mexico Netflix rate for my plan.
They're raising what?
The rate for my plan, my Mexican Netflix plan.
Oh, they are.
Yes.
Wasn't aware of that.
I got an email, I think, yesterday. It says you'll save 25% with your new monthly plan. Your basic plan is being discontinued, and your new Mexico 119 standard with ads plan automatically begins.
Oh.
So, yes, they're lowering the price, but I'm going to watch ads.
Yes. Because they make more money off ads.
And if you'd like to, so it'll be 119 pesos. Or if I want to change to a plan with no ads, it's $249 a month.
$249 a month. Wow.
Pesos, yeah.
Yeah.
So $12.
No, I mean that still sounds cheaper than the U.S. plan.
Well, it is, and we'll see if I can stand watching with ads.
Yeah, we'll see. I did get the list up, the devices that are no longer supported. Fire TVs, first generation from 2014. Apple TVs, second and third generations are not supported by Netflix. The PlayStation Vita, you don't care about that, I'm sure. PlayStation. Samsung's older Samsung Blu-ray players are going to lose their Netflix ability. Vizio smart TVs and Blu-ray players before 2015 will lose, and those with 2013 models or older. And then there's some older TVs, Blu-rays, and Toshibas. Netflix has a compatibility, how to check for compatibility help center. And since we're talking about it today, I'll just go ahead and stick this in our document for today. So it's available, but this is a link to the device a link to the page that lists the devices that are compatible with Netflix. So anyway, my point with that was that on these older Amazon Fire Sticks, Amazon still functions. And a lot of those applications function. Amazon's going to pull away support from them at some point as they move into this new operating system. They're going to stop offering security updates and compatibility updates. However, what has really happened is the services have dropped their support for these older devices faster than Amazon has dropped support for these. And that's a bit unusual. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it written down anywhere, but I just know from my own experience. Normally you have an experience like a Windows compatibility, where you move from Windows 98 to Windows XP, and the software that you run slowly stops being compatible with Windows 98, but Microsoft has long abandoned it. We ran Windows 2000 for years without Microsoft giving us any updates to it. And the software that we needed would run on it without any problem on that platform. Until eventually, long after Microsoft had given up on it, the people that made the software gave up on it. That's kind of what we find is the normal progression. This is kind of the reverse at the moment. These service providers' applications are becoming incompatible with this older hardware, while the platform manufacturer is still continuing to support it for it. It's in fact in that respect, phones were the same way until California changed its laws. I'm sure you remember these older Android devices floating around in the world that your manufacturer had given up on. Old Samsungs running Android 8, 9, 10, or 7, 9, and 10. Still running the programs that you needed, still able to download and install from the App Store. However, not able to get the latest updates from their manufacturer. That's the norm. What I said was kind of like the Microsoft progression. So this flips it upside. So I think in conclusion, I think your Fire Sticks are going to continue to work for you for quite a while. At least a year, 2 years. I think they'll probably work for you until Amazon finally gives up on them, stops allowing them to access Amazon. That's when they're probably going to stop working for the side-loading apps that we use. Whatnot. The Radiosities. Do we have any other topics out there? Fred, Chester, Jody, Dad? Nothing more to mention. I'll start out with this news article. It's a little old. This one from Windows 10 about the extended updates just got cheaper. I think the only thing that's central to this, we talked about it a little bit last week. Jim has really been up on this. He's been waiting for this and trying to get it activated on all the computers in his house. I think he's got about 4 Windows 10 computers in his house. And he's gotten them all on this extended update. If you have a Windows 10 computer, this is a way to continue to get the updates that Microsoft will provide for it for the next year for free or next to free. This article is talking about how even if you pay the $30 required, you still need a Microsoft account. And there was some speculation that you would not need to sign in to Microsoft services. And that's just not true. In any of these schemes, you're going to have to sign into Microsoft services to get updated. The free version of getting updates for the next year for your Windows 10 is to be synchronizing your Windows 10 services with Microsoft services So you're basically providing Microsoft with details about how you use your computer. And if you do that, they will give you another year of free updates, which they're planning on doing anyway because they're charging corporate companies to do it. This comes over into the consumer area for your home computer. I'm looking at the group of people I have online right now, and nobody cares about this. We're going to move on. Everybody's Mac users or Windows 11 users. We were talking just now, just briefly, about side-loading application, specifically in Fire Sticks, but it's something that you do in all your Android devices and your Windows devices. You don't necessarily get all the programs from the App Store. In fact, in our worlds, app stores are still a new way to do things. We come out of the world where we would just download the app from the developer's website. If I want to run LibreOffice, I would go to the LibreOffice website and I would download it to my computer and install it. The same was for Minecraft. The same was for all these different softwares that are out there. And then you folks and myself, we come from a period of time where we would go to the go to the computer store and buy the box, pull the discs out of the box and stick them in our computer. This was the natural way to get computer software. But then the App Store came along, and it came along right around the same time as the mobile devices did. The App Store was the way to get software into your device. And along with the App Store came an amount of vetting that was supposedly being done. And it justified the stewardship of the App Store. The idea that you would use an App Store because the people that provide the App Store would be providing a level of authenticity and security to the supply chain of your software. Essentially, they're looking at the software being offered. They've given it an okay that it is safe for you to put it in your device. They've decided that there is no viruses in it. There's nothing malicious. And then they're providing a place for consumers to find it. That's what an app store. It's kind of like what CompUSA did when you go to the back shelf and you would look across it for software that you'd be interested in, looking at the boxes, discs. And an app store is doing that. And CompUSA hopefully would not be riddled with viruses, and you would hope your online app store would not be riddled with viruses. So what Google has done, all that being said, all that is background information for this topic, is that Google is right in front of me. Here we go. Not it. Talk about it. Oh, and I closed that. Don't want to close that. Thought I just brought it up again. So what Google is doing is they are requiring the developers of software, regardless of whether it's side-loaded or not, to be a verified Google developer. Now, Apple's been doing this for a long time now, but what that essentially means is even though the tools to build the software are made for free, Google makes them available to any developer that's interested in building applications on the Android platform. It's freely available. I can go download this set. But for me to release software, I need to be registered with Google. I need to have special key from them that says that I'm a certified Android device developer. This is going to happen slowly in our world, but I think it's happening immediately in certain countries where they're having a lot of trouble with virus and scam-based applications that are getting into devices regardless of whether they use a legitimate app store or they sideload. And you can imagine that these fake apps are very popular in certain areas because there are people that are trying to watch TV or use communication or banking at a very cheap rate. And so they may be falling victim to their own hubris, where they're going through pages of information going, do this, connect this cable, use this app to get this installed in your device, or go to this website and follow. And the reason they're doing it is because they're trying to avoid what would be considered the legitimate way to get whatever the software is, because it's either not available in the legitimate form or it's more expensive in the legitimate form. And so there's countries where this would be much more common, such as Latin America. Oh, that's our 15-minute warning. So what Google has decided to do is that if you're going to be building for the Android platform, you're going to have to be considered a legitimate developer, which means you've been vetted and sanctioned by Google to write and release software for that platform. This is something you had to do if you're going to be in the App Store, in the Google Play App Store. But now you're going to have to do it regardless of where your application is coming into a device, because they're putting this requirement in the operating system. So you may be able to sideload, but you're not going to be able to run it unless that software came from a developer that meets the requirements of the Google operating, that version of the Android operating.
What do you mean by the term sideload?
Sideload is when you don't use what would be considered a legitimate app. And Chester, you have only experienced this probably in your Windows computer. And in Windows, it's very common. In fact, we don't even refer to sideloading, even though it is the exact same thing. In a Windows computer, if you got your software somewhere other than the Microsoft Store, that would be considered sideloading. You've installed it from a disk that you have in hand, downloaded it from a website, and installed it using a installer.
Oh, that's true of almost all my programs.
Yeah, that's right. In the Windows platform, that's the way you do it. You hardly ever use, it looks like Judy left us. You hardly ever use the Windows App Store. It's gotten a lot better, and there's a lot of potential in using an app store like the Windows App Store. I would have a full discussion about how there's some real advantages as we move into that paradigm. But we are moving very slowly into that paradigm in the desktop. Even in the Windows platform, there's still very little software that people are actually getting out of the App Store, and there's much more getting it from the providers themselves directly. It's just the way we've always done it. Now on the mobile devices, on tablets and phones, and especially the iPhone, who has just made the App Store a real natural thing. This is how we typically get our software. Our software, normally, we don't load it up ourselves. We go to an App Store, we look it up, and we press a download button, and the App Store installs it for us. So on your iPhone, you've been doing it all along. You've been doing the App Store all along. On your Windows device, I know, Chester, you've had a Windows device for decades, and I don't think you've ever used the App Store to install anything.
I don't recall.
Yeah. And now, what is happening with these later versions, I mean, to stay on this topic a little bit, the Windows 10 and Windows 11, starting with Windows 8, there's components in the operating system that came with the computer, that came with Windows, that are only updated through the App Store. So even though you personally haven't purchased or downloaded anything from the Microsoft Store, there are pieces of your Windows operating system that can only be updated by the store. And so quintessentially, you are using the store whether you're aware of it or not. But those are for components of Windows that you're probably not even paying attention to, that are just updating.
Right.
So I find that interesting because that's going to put a bit of a limitation on some of the developers, some that aren't going to jump through the hoops of what Google will require to be a verified developer. It may also spawn some pirated developer tools. We went through this a couple of years ago on Apple. There was a infection of malware across Apple devices for a while there, and what had happened is somebody had taken the developer tools, the certified sanctioned developer tools of Apple, had incorporated it into them malicious code, and then released them on public sharing sites that developers, specifically Chinese developers, would go and grab so that they didn't have to become an Apple developer to use the tools. And then they were able to develop apps that ended up in the Apple Store. So I imagine this will spawn that kind of hacking. Well, I've still got Fred, Dad, and Chester on here, and I thought for us to end this meeting, you guys might find Google's AI integration top banana, or not top banana, but nano banana interesting. I'm playing around with it this morning. This is something, Nano Banana is a website that's been out there for a while for editing pictures. And I'm afraid I must have just closed the one I go off. That one off now. I did. I ended up close it. Let me see if I can open it. Close. No. No. I didn't save it. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the incorporation, because if you went to Nano Banana AI, this is where you can upload a picture, you can tell it to do things to the picture, and then the results. Now, what Nano Banana from a free account is, you get 4 credits, and each generation takes a credit. So I did 2 things and used up my credits. I was going to show you that, and I inadvertently closed it when I was cleaning it, so I can't show you that. But what I'm going to show you is what has been released as the latest news. Oh, we lost Chester. In Google Gemini, allowing us to do this. And there may be credits, but they've got quite a bit more credits to Gemini. And so if you're looking at my screen, I took and uploaded a picture of myself. There I am. Don't I look studly? And I told it to edit this photo, to clean my teeth, trim my beard to be more professional, also remove my hat and give me a professional haircut, change my t-shirt to a neutral color. So this is what we're starting with. I got my hat on. I got my beard scraggly. Chester's back with us. I got my hat on. I got my beard scraggly. And so what I want is a professional picture by AI. I thought this was really impressive. Oh, and change my t-shirt to a neutral color. So this is what it came up with. Gave me a haircut, trimmed my beard, changed my t-shirt to a gray t-shirt. I think you have to look
pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think you'd have to look really close. I could start sending that out as a professional photo if I wanted to, of myself. See how white and glistening my teeth are, and how I'll go back to the original. slightly yellowish, scraggly beard, red Spider-Man t-shirt, rainbow hat. Yeah, Bill.
I would have thought you would have lowered your hairline a little bit more.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because I was trying to make some other changes. This is another proof of how it's the first pass that is always the most effective. Because then I tried to take this work and I wanted to add this logo to one of the computer screens in the background. See that? So I had some background there, and I said I wanted this on the background of the picture. This actually looks well done. But then I tried to center this image. Like this is a better photo. I wanted it to really match this photo. But you've cut off my chin. And so I started using language in this command such as what did I say? I said without changing the perspective. Without changing this. Okay.
I think that could be easily done with Photoshop.
Right. But did you see how you disappeared, Chester? This is the original photo. See that? My hat, my beard, my t-shirt, my teeth.
And it'd be nice to see them side by side.
Well, I could download them. But then I told it this command: edit this photo to clean my teeth, trim my beard to be more professional, also remove my hat and give myself a professional haircut, change my t-shirt to a neutral color. And this is what came. I didn't have to Photoshop it. It did it.
No, I was talking about the centering and putting the sign.
Well, yeah, exactly. So my point is, look how effective this is. But then the next pass, I'm asking it to do this. And you've ended up cutting the chin off. You've focused on the screen. In fact, if you look at that picture, it's got two screen bases at the bottom of it. So this is where the AI really starts screwing up without changing the perspective or resolution. So now let's see what it does. It's going to take just a moment. Moment more. So this is the second pass. The first pass is really impressive. Here's the second pass, which is not so impressive, and this is what people are complaining about. Oh, look, this is even worse than the last one because it totally changed the perspective and added an extra screen. So I find this to be really impressive. I think if you're looking at this and it's like, oh, it's too bad Scott doesn't look more professional. It looks to me like the AI can do it, but you can't keep moving forward without having it just fall apart. These are the kinds of complaints that people are having with what they're calling this AI bubble.
They'll fix that over time.
Sure. I mean, I look at this as guardrails. But what this is it's way too loose out there, and they need more granular constraints that are easy for people to use. I know from my own experience using the AI development studio provided by Google, they have a slider that lets you slide between more accurate and more fantastic results. Hey, are we going on to another meeting, or are we calling this in? Because it looks like we're about ready to lose.
I'm done.
You're done? Fred, how are you doing? You want to go on to another meeting, Dad? I'm gonna.
Well,
I can be
I
done.
can be happy with what we've done.
Okay, well, why don't we just say goodbye for now? Tech on, and we'll meet again next Tuesday at 10.
Okay.
Have a good week. Have a great hunt.
All right, good to see you guys.
Nice job, Scott.
Hasta
Bye.
martes. Bye. Bye, Bill. Sorry we missed you. Well, and that was it. That was the San Carlos Computer Club. I am Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. I see Bill's walking right back in here to realize that we have shut down. See you, Bill. So until next Tuesday, tech on.